tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hi guys, welcome to Dallas, Season 3, Episode 2, Dead Reckoning. I'm your host, Dorinda Barker. Next to me is the lovely JJ Jurgens.
Hi guys, how are ya?
She's joining us. She'll be filling in and she'll be part of the crew now, which is great. Unfortunately, we are missing two. AJ. Kelly, we miss Kelly. I can't believe we're not here tonight. And no, but they're not here because of other reasons. They couldn't been here because of work and other little things. But they said they miss you guys and they'll be here next week. Well, I don't know next week. It's a holiday.
I was going to look that up too. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. So that one we'll get back to you on. Let's talk about this episode. Wow. Drew. And by the way, suicide is unfortunately a hot topic recently. So, and the way it just opened up with, I say the cartel and the big guy, but now I know his name is Luis because they used it a lot tonight. Because they haven't really used it a lot in the other episodes. So I could never figure out his name. We figured it out. It's Luis.
Yeah, I was the same. I was like, wait, was it Ruiz? What was that? Because I finally heard it and I was like, wait, what was that?
Exactly. They bring him out to the land. And on his father's land, which is technically JR's land, but I don't believe that. Everybody knows how I feel about that. I think that that's a Cliff Barnes thing, and I think something. That is not true. I don't think JR would have done that. He has done underhanded things, but I don't think he did it. I just don't.
I thought it was really interesting when you said that because that would be what a great puppet play if he's got everybody thinking that and doing these things now and surprise.
Oh, hi. I think they're going to find out in the end that that did not happen and it's just honestly that's what it was. But I digress because you guys all know my feelings on this one. But back to Drew's death. They really did it to really make it look like he did it. They really went through the effort, and it starts out with they plant the body on the field, and which is such a that's to make a point and to make a statement right there. And then we switch real quick to Bobby wakes up with no Ann, switching to Ann looking out the window at the Omni Hotel. I'm just gonna say she's at the Omni because the Omni's always there, and she's like longing for Bobby, which is
looking at her ring,
exactly, contemplating what she did, and you get all that stuff. Now, before we get back to Drew, real quick. Did you notice when John Ross walked in? Because this all goes back to Drew's death. This whole episode is all about Drew's death, except for a couple little scenes, which we'll get into later, but it's basically all about Drew. John Ross walks into the room that was burnt up, and he picks up JR's hat real quick, and then he throws it down. And you're like, I was interested in why did he just drop it? And then he gets to the belt buckle, and he throws it in anger. And I'm picking up of his anger. He's blaming his father now for him becoming JR. Now, we all know that you can't blame someone for becoming who you are, but it's very poetic. I thought it was very poetic. And then he goes to burn the letter of the master plan, and then Bum always shows up.
Bum's all right.
I love Bum though. He's like, what are you doing? Why? He goes, that's JR's master plan. Why are you going to do this? And to me, at that point, and I might have said it to you in the room, I felt he should have burnt it because sooner or later, a lot sooner than later, someone's gonna find this thing, and then you guys are all, and excuse my language, screwed.
Yeah,
big time screwed. And listen, Dallas fans, we're a lot smarter than that. They could have done a little bit better, but we'll get back into that because I was kind of ticked off.
Yeah, no, I agree with you because they all know it now. There's no need to keep it around.
Exactly.
You know, just get rid of it. Get rid of it before it can burn you.
Exactly. Let him burn it up in that room with everything else, because that would have been great if he would have just burnt it in that room where everything else had burnt up.
Yeah, I did also like seeing John Ross in that scene though, because he was blaming him, but then he also then turns it at the end, and he actually says, "No, I blame myself for trying to be JR," you know, and so I was glad that at first I thought it was going to be a pity party for him, you know, and him feeling like he did not enjoy this power and enjoy this plan and enjoy a lot of the things that he was doing. So I was glad that he came to the realization that he has himself to blame.
What I love about, once again, Bum, voice of reason, Bum, he said, "No one told you to sleep with Emma Ryland to get her trucks."
Yeah.
He's got a point there, John Ross. You got a very big point. You didn't have to sleep with her. There was other ways to go about doing that. And so then Derek shows up at our house, you know, our local police guy, who just randomly shows up. Well, he wasn't randomly showing up. Something happened, but he just is always kind of there.
I said to you during it, I'm like, I just love him when he shows up because he just always comes in, delivers the news, you know, but it's like there are no other cops working ever. It's just, he's always just got the news for this, you know, for the Dallas
I think
Ranch.
Derek is the only cop in Dallas, to be honest with you. I think he's the only one I've ever seen. So he shows up and he talks to Carmen and Bobby and then delivers the news to Carmen, and heartbroken. And I felt at that moment, you could just tell a mother doesn't want to hear those things. She doesn't want to believe those things. And I kind of teared up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. Your parents never want to lose their children first. That's number one and number two. Or all together, not number one and number two. But they don't ever want to do that. They always want to be the first to go. And so then she calls Elena, and then Elena's waiting there for Nicholas. Yeah. Nicholas or Joaquin.
Yeah.
Depending on the day. He walks in, and as she's about to go into him, which she should have, and because he still just makes me so angry, that one, and we'll talk about that.
He's creepy.
He's so creepy on such a high level of creepiness. And then gets the phone, and then drops the phone and goes to her mother, and that was just heartbreaking too. She really played that scene up. Kudos to Jordana Brewster this season. I'm gonna say it because, you know, sometimes we've ragged on her before, but this second part of the season, she's bringing it like no one's business. And tonight, she was amazing.
Yeah, she has a lot of heavy stuff to play, and anger and sadness, and I think she's doing a great job.
Oh yeah, and I like that because they really didn't do much for her last season. But granted, what do you do when your main star dies? You really just building around that. But this season, they really did. She's going for it, and I'm just really getting to see her acting chops and loving every minute of it. I think she's doing a great job.
I always feel like that with all of them. I feel like they're just have brought all the characters up a notch and given them some really great, juicy dialogue and, you know, witty comebacks and some humor, and just I think they've really built the characters up well.
Oh yeah, even to Josh Henderson, but John Ross, his. From first season to now, second half of last season, whatever happened, I don't know what it was, amazing.
Yeah, I think he's incredible.
Incredible. He has certain things now, like tells in the way he does.
Looks.
Yes, exactly. It's the looks, but he's really pulling it. And you know, Jesse Metcalfe actually is, now that we've gotten over the fact that he's adopted. Yes, we know, Christopher, you're adopted. Now that they don't play into that, because he's played into that so much that now he's really becoming his own. He really is becoming his own. And I'm truly loving every single one. And I can't leave out Pamela because she's just awesome. We're going to talk about her in a minute. Yeah. So we go. There's much happening. So much. So Derek shows up, tells them. And then the next scene actually goes in, we segue out of that, and Christopher goes to the hospital. And this broke my heart too, because he's sitting there and they don't know he's there, and he's watching them as a family. And now we're going to go back to him really wanting a family and him still not dealing with the fact of these babies that him and Pamela lost together, because they really haven't dealt with it. So now you have all of this, and he's seeing that, and Christopher has the heart. He has more of a heart. He has Bobby's heart. So he's not going to let a kid not have his father in his life. And he started to see, like, they mesh, they mean something, and you could just tell.
That was so hard for me to watch, because what you love about Christopher is he does have that good heart, and he wants, knowing if it was his family, he would want them, if there was a chance for it to be back together. The hard part for me was that Bo was such a douchebag, like before, that I was just rooting for Christopher to finally get a happy ending. I mean, he's been through it with these ladies, so it was like, finally, let's get somebody, no drama. I thought them taking it slow because of her child was smart, and and so I was torn, because inside I really wanted to not see her, one part of me wanted her to not choose Bo and be like, no, I'll help him and support him, but I want to try this new beginning with you. But then the other part of me too is like, well, they were so sweet there together that you get, okay, they have to go try to put this family together.
Exactly. You see all that. And Christopher does everything he can for Bo to make sure that he can walk again. They bring in this doctor who said she can't help him, but she knows of a doctor in Israel that's doing this stem cell work, and he has to, if it works, he'll have 3 surgeries, and within a year and a half he'll be walking, and the doctor does say he'll be dancing at his son's wedding someday. And Christopher takes himself out of the equation and really does go about it in such a way that made him so, as a woman, I'm just going to say it, so hot tonight.
Yeah.
Agree.
I'll second that.
Exactly. Because that's what a man does. Like, honestly, and he became selfless. And even because there's so much more to talk about. So we'll just end with the Christopher and the Bo and the Heather thing. We'll just fast forward to when he gives her the envelope. They love envelopes on the show.
They do. Everything's in
Everything is so in an envelope. We've talked about this a couple times. And then I realized it tonight. Everything's in an envelope. That he gives her the envelope and says goodbye to her. And that was sweet.
Yeah.
And bittersweet. And she got it. She said, well, you never really lose your first love. What did she say? I thought I wrote it down somewhere. You never really forget your first love or something like that. Yeah. And that was very sweet of him to do, and was able to let her go. So now that's leaving him open for something else that's going to happen, or maybe bring her back. I don't know, because I feel they need to utilize her, Anna Lynn McCord, a little bit more. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, because it'd be interesting just to see them ride off in the sunset. That doesn't make sense to me. So I feel something else is going to happen there, or maybe I'm wrong, because I like drama. So that's probably why. So we go back to Pamela. Pamela is talking to a psychiatrist who's a suicide watch doctor. That's what she called him, the suicide watch doctor. Sue Ellen walks in, and Pam was like, my choice was you or Dr. Suicide Watch. You're lucky.
I just love her. She was so great last episode. And then again in this one, just talk about looks again, the looks on her face, and just she's saying so much with her expression in these scenes. It's great.
She doesn't have to say anything, but her mind is always working and going. It's whatever's going on in those the cogs in her mind are amazing, because people think she's crazy. I don't think she's crazy. I just think that she's a really smart woman who has lived a life of always trying to get the love of her father. Never really got the love of her father unless there was something in it for him. And then the same with John Ross. It makes sense that she would fall in love with someone like John Ross, because he, as much as you hated JR and Cliff Barnes, had a lot of the same attributes. That's what made them powerful men. And John Ross follows his father. So it makes a lot of sense. But when she was talking to Sue Ellen's trying to talk to her about some things, and she just doesn't want to listen. And like the part where Sue Ellen puts her hand, oh no, that was the second scene where Sue Ellen puts her hand on her hand, and she just pulls right away. Because she doesn't want to, Pamela now just doesn't want to feel anything. Because, you know, Pamela has gone through a lot. And so I'm interested to see, now they're going to be living together.
And I think she's also not letting anybody in.
No.
I think she's just all out for herself right now. And so she's not going to let anybody inside those walls and just do what she has to do.
And I don't blame her. She has a plan. And she's a one-woman show, and I think she can do it all on her own. And I think she has a plan with the whole Sue Ellen thing.
Yeah.
She's going to do something with that. All of that, and John Ross goes to see her. Let's talk about this nurse. The nurse was amazing.
Yeah. She was like, great.
I'll give you 2 weeks salary. Anyone who's watching or listening, you can't see my face, but the looks she was giving him, and then she's like, I can see why your wife doesn't want to see you.
Yeah. She was great. It was so fun to watch after he's so used to charming every lady, you know, and she's like not having any of it.
She was not having it. And finally he gets to go in and talk to Pamela, and Pamela basically says our marriage is over. And he's, once again, great acting tonight, especially on his part. He's breaking down because he really doesn't, I do believe he doesn't want to be his father.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think it's just innate, it's in him, but he's really trying to change. And when he's saying everything to her, she is just over. It's done. Once again, going back into, she doesn't want to let anybody in, not anything, but any emotion, anything to bother her, to get her to where she's going to go. So you're thinking, that's it, our marriage is over, we're going to get a divorce. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Isn't that what you were thinking
definitely.
The whole time? Then the next scene with Sue Ellen comes back in, and they're talking, and she said, well, I'm not going to divorce him. And Sue Ellen is now perplexed by all of this. And she goes, I'm not, because we didn't sign a prenup. And she doesn't want John Ross to have the Ewing Global shares. So she's honestly going to torture John Ross. I feel it's gonna be good.
And I think that's what Sue Ellen knows too, because just watching her face when she reacts to her saying that, you know, she's just welcomed this woman to live with her, and then she pretty much finds out that she's gonna like nail her son to the wall, and it's like, what?
She goes, even though I'm mad at my son, you can see that I'm mad at my son, but I don't know.
You're a little crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, and that
it's funny.
So we'll go back to Drew, because now they're at the hospital, and so it's Carmen, Bobby, Nicholas, Elena. They go to identify the body. That was a hard scene to watch, because the last time we saw a scene like that is when they went to go identify JR's body. And so when they walked in there, that was the first thing I thought about, is the last time they were in a room, it was going to do that for JR. And now Bobby's in there going to do it for someone else, even though it's not his family. Carmen has been his family.
Yeah.
So now it was just such a hard scene to watch. And I feel awful. The woman who plays Carmen, who plays Drew's mother, amazing. They gave her so much to work with. It was so good. Was so, everybody tonight really stepped up their game. But she notices when she gets Drew's stuff that his St. Christopher medal is missing. And so then Elena goes, well, it's a mortal sin to commit suicide. Really? That's what you're gonna say to your mother? Listen, there's better lines you could have used there. But that's what they did. And she goes, no, he would have never taken it off. And it would have been somewhere, and she asked, was it anywhere near his body? And they're like, no. And then that's when she goes, I think he was killed. And then did you see the look on Nicholas's face? He's like,
yep.
I don't think those were tears of being upset that Drew said. I think those are tears of going, what if I'm found out? That's the way I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, and I think because you called it, because at that point you said that's going to be the thing that, you know, uncovers this all. So I think you were right on that one.
And then what goes into the next scene? Nicholas and Elena fighting, and Elena's like, I think we need to tell everybody.
Yeah.
And he can't let that happen, because he's $600 million in the hole to the cartel.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen the main guy yet.
Well, and what was the terrible thing about that is not only that, but he tells her that they can't do it because they have to do this for her brother, you know, the guy that he just killed. That was like, wow, he really went there on that with that line.
You know what? I can't wait till you get your comeuppance, Nicholas Joaquin, whatever your name is or whatever you're going to go by, because that is going to be a day I'm going to be very happy with, because it's all going to come together. And that's where I think they're going to come in and they're going to realize that whole land thing is not a real thing. And I think him and Cliff Barnes had something to do with it. And I will talk about it until the day it becomes real. So they get back to the house. The family gets back to the house, and the fire marshal is at the house taking more samples. And they think it's weird that he's still there. They figure, oh, this has been solved. It makes sense because we all know what really happened. So I was like, something's coming out. Something's coming out. We go to Ryland, and Emma show up at the house to get Emma's thing. She doesn't know about Drew. And then Carmen gives her a letter, Emma a letter. Now, this is my only thing, and I don't know how you feel about this. I felt that they didn't play up Emma and Drew as much as I felt that they should have. Yeah. They should have had more of them together.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think it was too fast and fleeting, and I don't know why they didn't develop that storyline more, because I think that storyline could have been an amazing storyline.
Which I agree, because then would make this letter have more impact, because now it kind of comes out of nowhere a little bit, you know?
I agree with you 100%. So this letter comes out, and I was almost shocked that he gave her that there was a letter. Weren't you a little like perplexed a little bit?
Yeah.
Because then I was like, oh yeah, they did have something together. And I know that he had gotten in trouble, and it was because of her father that he had gotten in trouble. I just feel like that was a shoddy storyline and could have been built into so much more. And then
I agree with you.
Yeah. And so, but she gets this letter and she reads the letter, and then she blames her father for his demise, for Drew's demise. Now, Ryland does have a point. He was like, he was the one who was willing. He was a participant in all of this. He didn't have to do this, which is not quite true. Yeah. Because he was somewhat forced into doing what he did, blowing up the rig. Yeah. But I think when Emma read the letter, and Drew is one of the only people who's ever seen her for her and as a good person. And now we all know what's happening because her mom wants nothing to do with her now. The Ewings want nothing to do with her because of what happened with Pamela. And now she's staying with the devil and her son. Yeah.
Well, and Ryland is just so controlling and manipulative. Like he burns me. Even when to back up just a tiny bit, when they were at the house getting the letter on the ranch, and you know, Bobby says, you know, get off, don't ever come on my property again. And he's like, oh, property? Is that what you call your wife? It's like that. They're just saying this after all this drama that's going on, and he's still gonna be that nasty in that scene. And then to Emma, when she, after reading the letter, well, we all make our own choices. Like, whoa, he's just zinger at one after the next.
I was like, Mitch Pileggi, you did not just do that, because I've always been a fan of his since X-Files. Oh. Yeah. So oh god, yeah. But they really give him, and they're giving him some of the lines too now, which is great, because as much as we love Judith Light, I think everyone should have some of the lines, though she pulls them off the best. Yeah. So we go back to Luis and Nick, and they talk about Drew and the fire. And basically, Luis thinks, oh, this is great. Everything's just working out as planned. It's perfect. They're not going to find out about Drew starting the fire. Everyone thinks that Drew did it on his own. And Nicholas is like, how are you so sure about this? Because he's not telling Luis about the St. Christopher medal. Yeah. Because I think he's worried about that. He's going to get paranoid about that. So, and then Nicholas says, a man with nothing to lose has nothing to fear. Because Luis threatens him in a way.
Yeah, he threatens that he's worried about Elena, and that she could probably have suicide, you know, also commit suicide.
Oh, yeah. Yes, and that was quite interesting too, because basically saying, I'm going to threaten your woman. Now, we all know how creeptastic him putting the needle through the diaphragm, the holy diaphragm that we're now calling it. Because I'm like, this guy really wants to be with this woman, even though he's doing all these awful things to her family. Yeah. He just wants to be with her. Joaquin from the block. And I just... So when that happened, when Luis, I think he crossed the line by saying because Luis is worried that Elena's going to turn, which they should worry about, because even though she's doing all of these things, she still has a heart, and there's still glimpses of her loyalty to the Ewings, and it's always going to come out, So all of those things, and then our marriage. Oh wow, we're through the okay. Oh, okay. So then Luis and the cartel are doing whatever they're doing, because they all just seem to stay in this warehouse and never see the light of day. It's never the light of day. They drink tequila and stay in the warehouse. Exactly. And the Range Rover pulls up. So you think it's Ryland, because that's what I thought. I thought it was Ryland. And Emma pops out of the car. Oh, Emma.
Trouble.
Because as much as she wants to be her grandmother and her father, and as much as she hates her father and loves her father at the same time, she can never be the two of them, because she's been so sheltered. She doesn't get certain things. So this is going to backfire on her, I think. This is what I think. And she says, if something should happen to my father, I'm next in line. My grandmother just made me next in line. So if something happens to my father, like goes back to jail, and she does say that, because I want to see my father back.
She wants.
You're the ones who got him out. Put him back in, and I don't care what you have to do. And he's like, why should I do that? And he goes, well, which doesn't she say I'm better looking? I'd be easier to deal with.
Something like that. Yeah, I didn't write that one down. Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah, it's like,
I know she said I'm better looking at the beginning. Yeah,
definitely better. And she looked fierce, by the way.
Yeah.
That outfit and the way she walked up, fierce. So I have to say, that was a very good fashion moment for Dallas.
Yeah, definitely. And she definitely came out of that car, with a plan, and she had just had it after reading the letter and kind of all this manipulation from her father. So I'm interested to see if she can really pull it off.
I mean, I'll root for her. I'll definitely root for her, because I do think there's something about her that she has the good of Anne in her, but also the craziness of Ryland and Judith in her too. So you got to go, if you put those both together, that's brilliant. Yeah. But she has to know how to use her powers. Right. You know how the superheroes are? I'm not saying she's a superhero, but like superheroes, when they're learning their powers, it's all over the place. I feel that she's all over the place, and then she has to just hone it in. And it's going to be brilliant, either destruction all over the place, or she's going to use it for either good or evil. Yeah. I'm not quite sure. But I don't know.
Hopefully it'll be all just evil against the cartel. Yes. That's what I want to see. Just destroy them.
And maybe, I just thought about something. Okay, we'll get into that with predictions. We're not there yet. But, okay, so then we get back to the coroner. Yeah, so the coroner, you see... he's reading the charts, and there's all these, I don't know.
Some sort of figure. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it. But it looks like it's important. And he makes a phone call.
We know something's about to happen is all we knew.
Like, I thought they figured out he didn't kill himself. That's what
I did too.
Yeah, I thought that was the moment they were going to go, oh, he didn't kill himself. And I was like, wow, they're doing that real quick. I was surprised. But it wasn't for that. It was, he calls the fire marshal, the lieutenant, and tells him, no, this is what was on his body. And they find out that it really was Drew who started the fire. So now the plan is starting to unravel.
Secrets out.
Yeah, certain things are starting to happen. The look on Sue Ellen's face, I was like, how's that possible? How's that? I don't get it.
She might have still been drunk.
Yeah, she's like, I don't get it. I don't understand. She's like, but I did it. No, you didn't do it, lady. Crazy lady. And then Bobby's like,
love her.
Oh, I know you didn't start that fire. Like, really, Bobby? Because you were so accepting of her starting this fire.
It's true.
We know you didn't do it. I was like, this scene right now just went real schmaltzy real quick. And I thought it was going to be one of those powerful scenes, but everybody's there. Carmen's there. Elena's there. The whole, the Ewings, everybody. So And she doesn't understand why he would start this fire. And they don't understand either because they don't know what's going on. They don't understand what's going on. Because they don't know yet that they think that JR stole their land. Yeah, Bobby doesn't. Okay, let me mention names instead of going they. Bobby doesn't know anything about the land. And that's, and John Ross, all of them, they don't know anything about this land. It's really Elena and Cliff Barnes and Nicholas. So they're the ones who know about this land. They don't, like I said, the Ewings don't know. So Elena's getting it, but the mother's not understanding. She goes, "What? He was just here 3 days ago wanting to apologize to Christopher for killing his babies. Why is this happening?" So Elena then goes, "My mother's tired. We need to take her back to the room." And then she pulls out the box. Okay. Once again, I will say, and I'm not going to, because you already know how I feel about this. She pulls out the papers and says, JR did this. But then again, remember when they did it second season and they were talking about all of that? They made it seem like it happened like in the 1800s or like, in the 1900s or whatever, like early 1900s. It still didn't make any sense to me. And now they're like, JR did this. I still don't think he did it. But now she tells the mother. And then the mother, if you remember in the beginning, sees John Ross reading this letter. And then Bum comes in. Yeah, Bum comes in, stops him. And that's when I said to you, I said, Bum should have just let him burn that letter. Burn that letter all up in that room. It all would have been good. But with that being said, she goes, oh. And then you realize in flashbacks, I'm telling you, it's the maid and the butler. They see everything. They see everything. She was on the stairs and the day of the wedding. Bum comes in and Bobby's like, well, take care of it. Because Atlanta goes, they are the Ewings. They take care of family first. They're always about family. And then that whole thing is like, we're a family and we'll take care of it. As if, of course, you're going to have that flashback. Yeah. So then the mother now is like, we need to get that letter. Okay.
And of course, where you would put a letter is that is top secret.
Okay, Dallas writers, I'm going to just say something right now. That is the weakest part of your storyline ever. And I'm very upset with you because you did such a great job on so many other things. Why would you make this so simple? You know?
Yeah.
It was just, oh, I'm just going to keep it in my billfold. And some chick is going to seduce me.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. Because, there's no way you would keep something like that in your billfold that, there's no way.
And think of all the people John Ross sleeps with. Yeah, and I'm not trying to sound like a jerk, but he sleeps with a lot of people. And you don't think there's one woman who's going in to like look and see if there's something that she can get on
take
them?
Some cash. I mean, even if it wasn't knowing something like that, just take his money or,
and then find
like
this and goes, oh, look what I got. I got my winning ticket, Go ahead.
And also, it bugged me too when Elena finally got the letter. She just stands in the room reading it, like with him right behind you. Like, wouldn't you just, if you got it, like go to the bathroom, or something, so that if he were to wake up or look up, or notice, you wouldn't just be standing in front of him reading it. That was my only gripe.
It just annoyed me. I was like, seriously? People, you could have done a better, I know we only have, 5 more episodes after this, so maybe they need to speed things up, but I just felt they dumbed it down for the viewer, and that kind of made me upset. And I don't really normally complain about Dallas because I really do like the writing. I mean, we make fun of certain things, but that just kind of made me a little upset because our viewers are not dumb and they really love the show. And I just didn't like there's so many different ways they could have went about that. But here's the great part about it. She goes, gets herself drunk, and I'm like, are you seriously going to go do this? And she gets her holy diaphragm.
Yes.
This storyline is going to be the best storyline ever.
I love it too.
Because, first of all, watch it not be Trevino's kid. Watch it be John Ross's kid, and watch Christopher go through a downward spiral like no other. Because,
Yeah, I want it to be John Ross's kid.
I do too. I want it so bad to be his kid.
I mean, I will feel badly for Christopher again. Like he needs some new blood's got to come in for him, so he can have some really, really good girl. He deserves it. But right now, I want this to happen.
Yes. Oh. And then I'm thinking, the scene before, pretty much the scene before, it's John Ross really begging for Pamela's forgiveness. Why would you sleep with Elena? That is the worst person. If you really want to mess your life up, sleep with your wife's best friend. Yeah. Because, hey, why not? It's like, oh, so incestuous. So incestuous. And if she gets pregnant with John, Pamela's going to go crazy.
Oh, yeah. See, that's why it's the absolute worst, but the absolute best. Because I want to see Pamela just go crazy. But yeah, you're right. Well, it was such a quick turn. I mean, and I really bought him feeling how much he really loved Pamela in the hospital and really wanted to work. And I'm like, yeah, wow, he really has changed. No, a couple of, a little bit later. Get drunk and sleep with her.
Jim Beam. Awesome. Really? Jim Beam? That's what you're going to be drinking to? No offense. You guys are the Ewings. Should never be Jim Beam. No, I don't even drink Jim Beam, and I don't even have anything close to the money they have. Never Jim Beam. So that pretty much ends the show. And I just, I have in my notes, why carry the letter around? So we discussed that. I think we went through almost everything tonight. Yep. So
yeah, I think we did.
Anyway, with all of this being said, do you have any predictions for coming up?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'm always the absolute worst at these, and really the only one that I had written down, like after this, was that that she was gonna get pregnant with John Ross's baby.
That's gonna be brilliant.
But yeah, go with yours, and let me see if I can think of anything else.
Well, I also think with all of this happening, the St. Christopher medal is really going to play big into all of this. And that's going to, Elena, of course, is going to find it. Who else is going to find it? Because no one else has the wherewithal or anything. And I think she already is gaining a distrust of him as it is already, because he, the whole thing with the video, sending the video to Pamela, which then, had that whole thing happen with her going to the hotel room and everything like that. So that's one of my predictions. I also think she's going to be heartbroken because she's then going to find out it was Nicholas who was the one who killed him. And then her whole world will be turned upside down. And then where is she going to go? Because then she doesn't have him. She doesn't have the Ewings because she's trying to destroy them because of them taking her land. So I'm interested to see how this is all going to go down.
And she goes into the arms of John Ross.
Oh, Lord, baby. Jesus, this is going to be awesome. I can't. And, because it makes perfect sense, because it's a perfect 360 because they started out together. So I'm interested to see. Even though, at the end of the day, Christopher and her will probably wind up together, it makes sense that they would get back together.
I wondered if there was foreshadowing with that when Heather said that to him, at the hospital.
Yes,
so that's what I wondered if eventually they might end up back together.
Yeah, and she knows that Christopher doesn't have anything to do with this, but we'll see. I think she'll be heartbroken too if she knows that Christopher knows part of this plan, the whole Cliff Barnes thing. That's going to play into it, but I think that's going to backfire again on Cliff Barnes because it always seems to. He can't ever get out of anything. So we'll see Cliff Barnes again. So I think that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for once again tuning in to us. Kelly and AJ will be back the next time. I think it's called Hurt. Episode 3 is called Hurt, I think. We were just talking about that with somebody here because we were trying to figure out when the show is on again. And so you can follow me, Dorinda, at Twitter on Lula Cherry Films, at Lula Cherry Films, and on Instagram at Dorinda B1. Where can people follow you?
I'm at JJ Jurgens on Twitter, Instagram, Jurgens JJ, and at my blog at tomgirl.tv.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
That's great. And once again, welcome and thank you for coming in. And we got to, all four of us get together. It's just going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thanks for letting me join in on this team when you guys need fill in.
Oh, we love it. We love it. And once again, have a good one, guys, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz y'all later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.